Okay, let's look at volume of prisms and cylinders. The deal with these is they actually have the same formula. So here is a prism, and it's a little confusing, but the base of the prism, right, is this bottom side and this top side. The height of the prism between the bases would be here. This is the height. For a cylinder, right, its bases are the two circles. It's got a radius, and then the height of the cylinder is from one base to the other. Now, the formula for each of these is V for volume equals big B times H. Same thing over here. V is big B times H. Now, both of these actually mean the same thing. So this B is area of the base, and this H is height of the figure or the solid, whichever word you prefer. And it's actually the same over here. So this is area of the base, and this H is height of the figure or the solid. Now, both formulas are the exact same. Therefore, you need to show me on the test that you know the difference. For this one, a prism, I've drawn it for you. A prism could have a square as its base, a triangle as its base, a rectangle as its base, or it could actually have a trapezoid as its base as well. So right here, under area of base for this formula, you need to actually note what its bases could be. So again, its base could be a square, rectangle, I'm going to abbreviate trapezoid, or triangle. I'll just write that. So you need to note for me, right, the area of a base for a prism, right? The base could be a square, a trapezoid, rectangle, or triangle, which means you would need the area formulas for each of these, which you can find in another video. So you need to show me you know that for the area of a base of a prism, the base could be any of these, which would change how you do the problem. Now, with cylinders, you know that cylinders are only going to have circles for bases. So the only thing you need to say over here is that it's going to be a circle. Okay? So this is exactly the layout that you should have. V equals big B times little h. Big B is area of the base, square, trapezoid, rectangle, triangle. Height of the figure is the little h. Over here, big B is the area of the base, it's a circle. Little h means height of the figure or the solid. Now, let's use these. So let's start over here and we'll do these problems. For this first one, we're going to use the formula V equals BH. So the volume equals, now area of the base is a triangle. So to find the area of a triangle, you do 1/2 times the base of the triangle, which is the 3, times the height of the triangle, which we see back here is 4. Times the height of the whole figure. So picture yourself placing this on its base, and you find that the height is 7.5. And now we can go about doing the work. So for the first part, we can go ahead and do 3 times 4 is 12, times 1/2 really is just half of 12. So that becomes 6, and then that times the height of the figure. So 6 times 7.5 makes the volume of this 45, this time cubic feet. Because we're dealing with 3 dimensions now for volume, it's going to be cubic units. So the volume of this would be 45 cubic feet. Down here, this is 8, 7, and 24. So let's do this one. And the bases this time are actually going to be these two ends, right here and then back here, the one you can't see. So the area of the base would be length times width, or base times height, so 8 times 7. Times the height of this whole thing, when you sit it on its base, would be 24. 8 times 7 makes that 56 times 24 comes out to, the volume is 1,344 cubic centimeters. So that's the volume of a prism. Now, volume of a cylinder, the area of the base, right, it's a circle now, so pi r squared. Pi times the radius, the diameter is 10, so the radius must be half of that, so that's 5. So pi times r squared times the height of the cylinder when you sit it on its base would be 80. And again, don't mess with the pi yet. Leave it alone. So let's do pi stays out front. 5 squared is 25. And now let's do 25 times 80. Comes out to 2,000. And then now we can do 2,000 times pi. So the volume of this first one, rounded to the nearest unit, should come out to 6,283 cubic centimeters. And let's try this last one. Volume is, again, it's a circular base. This time the diameter is 15, so the radius would be half of that, which would be 7.5, which you can easily just do in the calculator if you don't know that off the top of your head. So the radius is half of 15, so that's 7.5. So times 7.5 squared, so pi r squared, times the height of the cylinder is 12. So right here, 7.5 squared would be 56.25, and then you're going to multiply that by 12, and that should come out to 675. And finish 675 times pi. Round your answer to the nearest unit, 2,121 cubic millimeters. All right, and that is the volume of prisms and cylinders.